We're going to be discussing extraction and removal of stinging insects with Eric Critter McCool, all on this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast.
Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek Podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek Podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. I am your host, Frank Hernandez, discussing all things pests. And I've got on the podcast today, Eric Critter McCool, probably the world's leading removal and extraction expert. And we're going to be discussing the business of extraction and removal of stinging insects. But before that, I want you guys to remind you guys to go ahead and become part of the society. Join us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page and we have a Facebook listeners group where you can comment on the podcast, interact with what's going on the podcast, and give us feedback and let us know how we're doing and what we can do better for you. And we're going to be bringing on a lot of experts to train and teach. And we've got about 6 of the industry leading experts going to be contributing on this podcast. And we really, really appreciate what they're doing and trying to help us all grow together as one team. So I wanted to remind you of that. Go to the webpage, see what's going on. We have a new video section we added. We're going to be adding some things to that website, making it more interactive for you. But join the listeners group, Pest Geek Podcast Listeners. Look for that group on Facebook, and also go to our Facebook page there, and you can also like and share that information with us so that, you know, we can do the best that we can to provide the best training content that we can for you, and all absolutely free. So without further ado, I want to welcome Eric Critter McCool to the program. Welcome aboard, Eric.
Hey, Pest Geek Podcast. This is your favorite bee guy, Critter McCool, the authority on stinging insect extractions and control. So we're here today talking about stinging insects. So I hope you're looking for a great program here. So we're going to do a little introduction. A lot of companies are getting into stinging insect control and bee extractions. It is a very profitable service that is becoming kind of to the forefront. And it is something that is very important and a easy service to sell. You have 2 groups of people in the nation and around the world. Half of the population is allergic to stinging insect stings, and then you have the other half that does not want to be stung by a bee or a wasp or a hornet, etc. So it is very easy and profitable to sell these services if you're using a pesticide or an insecticide or doing live removals. So we're going to go ahead and go into some of the details and why you would want to pick up the service. Okay, so if you're doing removals, you can do several removals a day. What we consider as a removal would be if you got a wasp nest on the side of a building, if you have a free hanging hornet's nest, if you are inside a garage and it's on the exterior of the interior wall, that would be considered a removal. Extractions are any time that we are removing a stinging insect hive or a nest from a object or a place. So if you have yellow jackets in the ground, if you have them in a floor joist, the roof, ceiling, anywhere that you actually have to cut a nest or a hive out, that's what we consider an extraction. So you could easily move into the removal aspect of it until you gained enough training and experience to do so comfortably into the extraction process. So there's many reasons why you would want to do this. It's great public awareness. that you are helping to protect your clients and their family and their pets from stinging insects. You can provide prevention services as well, sealing up the exterior of the structure to prevent nesting. You can do exterior power sprays. The next spot I would say is, even if you're treating a nest with a pesticide or an insecticide, you should still be providing that removal service. So if you are treating that nest, say it's a hornet's nest hanging in a tree, for public awareness, for your public and company image, you really should remove that nest as well. Clients really like that. There's still a lot of homeowners that are very leery of nests, and they don't want to deal with that. So use that as a company, forefront to remove that nest. To once you extract that or remove it, treat it, get that nest removed. Don't just leave it there. I think that's a very important matter there. Even on the live removal parts, we do repairs. Some states you would have to check with your local laws and regulations and codes on repair work. But if you do not have the time or the experience and knowledge to do repairs, go ahead and hire or team up with a local contractor. You could refer that work out, or you can subcontract that work out. I believe all nests and hives need to be removed. There is a public image on stinging insects, but at the same time, we are at a great age in our society right now with the colony collapse disorder with honeybees. People are more aware of the benefits of stinging insects. And I'm not just talking honeybees, but hornets and yellow jackets, mason bees, etc. So we are at a great point in our industry and time that we can make that a forefront service. I cannot express how important that is. There is some different areas of training aspects. We provide training services for stinging insects. Purdue, Pest World, I'm sure there's different avenues that you can get some general training on stinging insect control. Very important to add that to your service, I believe. Make sure you're not allergic to it. There is some liability issues that you need to be aware of, but that is right along with the pesticides and insecticides that you are using. Is there clients or neighbors that is allergic to stinging insects, callbacks, etc. If the service is provided very well and you know what you're doing, callbacks are very limited. So the thing that I like about nest and hive removals is it's an open and closed job. You can get there. It's a one-time service. You go there, you do your nest removal, extraction, open and close the job, get your paycheck, and leave and go on to the next one. So it's very, very profitable. You can range from a hive and nest removal, depending what species, what state, and what country you're in. You can go from as little as maybe $100 and $125 up to several hundred to several $1,000s for a service, depending what's provided. So as we go along with this podcast here over the next several weeks, or what the schedule is, we are going to go into in-depth detail on some of these different services and the different species. I'm also going to be touching base on some wildlife services as well. So I'm looking forward to any questions or anything that people may want. Contact Pest Geeks podcast and find out what your needs are, and we can fulfill them. And we thank you for tuning into this podcast and giving me the opportunity to give my experience and my knowledge to do so. So I'm looking forward to everything. Thank you very much. Have a great 2018. I'm Critter McCool.
Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. This is Frank Hernandez, the Pest Geek. I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.